Shalum. Shalom and welcome. Welcome to Return to the Promised Land, the Judgment series. My name is Symmanayah, and this is the 11th installment. Its focus is on benefits and consequences. I say again, Shalom, my brothers and sisters. As we witness widespread acceptance of end times unfolding before our very eyes, many questions are being raised. Many questions with people seeking to discern what must be done. Our expectations are growing, seeking to identify what to expect in the coming of days as it relates to scriptures, as it relates to the words that are delivered by those led by the Spirit of the Almighty Father sent in Yahusha's name. We find ourselves faced with decisions on a day-to-day basis for those whose mind is on pursuing the will of the Almighty Father daily. As for those who think about set apartness only on Shabbat or Shabbat and or one other day of the week, I believe you too are facing questions. You too have questions. And you as well will face decisions that must be made in the coming days. My brothers and sisters, this journey is serious and it is critical. And in times, as it ramps up, as it becomes intense, we will realize such. In the academic world or business arena, there is this thing known as opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, which means when you choose one thing, you give up another. I am compelled to believe, my brothers and sisters, that this is the season where it would be wise to assess, to weigh, to measure how we spend our time, to look at what are we sowing, what seeds are we sowing, what do our actions speak, and do our actions line up with our words? I have mentioned this verse often, and I want to read it again as I move into this segment. Colossians 4:5 says, "Walk in wisdom toward those who are outside, redeeming the time." My brothers and sisters, to walk in wisdom and redeem our time wisely, it requires us to discern that the Almighty Father, Yahuah, will indeed work through us one towards another, that he has multiple times for us to face judgment, and at times for us to render or execute judgment. Though there are those who will define judgment as a bad thing, know this, my brothers and sisters. Judgment is merely rendering a decision on a matter in some way, shape, or form. From the simplest as discerning whether to attend a camp gathering, or even as simple as whether to go right or left when walking down the street, or when driving or riding a bike, or what plane to take, or what time to go, what time to come. Judgment has the simple tenets, and it has the most severe of tenets. It can be good and it can be bad. Balance comes to those who seek and discern how the spirit of our teacher, Yahusha Mashiach, gives us the wisdom to navigate through judgment. I have no doubt that there are leaders who would prefer to bear false witness against a brother or sister being straightforward when it comes to rendering judgment, versus seeking to discern what is the desired outcome sought in judgment. In other words, there are the unlearned and the undiscerning who say, "Oh, he's judging," or "she's judging," not even giving thought to why are they judging? Why are they executing judgment on this matter? Not seeking to discern what is the desired outcome, what is the purpose of such. You see, my brothers and sisters, excuse me, everything we do will come with either benefit or consequence. Allow me to present the following as I continue in this segment. 2 Corinthians 9:6 says, "And this, he who sows sparingly shall also reap sparingly, and he who sows on blessings shall also reap on blessings." That's 2 Corinthians 9:6. Galatians 6, 7, and 8 say, "Do not be led astray. The Almighty One is not mocked, for whatever man sows, that he shall also reap. Because he who sows to his own flesh shall reap corruption from the flesh, but he who sows to the Spirit shall reap everlasting life from the Spirit. You see, my brothers and sisters, as we are drawn by the Most High, we will discover more and more the realities of Romans 12:1 that speaks of presenting our bodies as a living offering before the Most High. There are sacrifices that must be made. There are things we must do. There are tasks ahead of us, my brothers and sisters. I say often, on many occasions, there is much work to be done. My brothers and sisters, when I was growing up, there used to be a term that we used to hear every now and then, would not be far between, that says, well, I shouldn't say a term, I should say a phrase, what goes around comes around. There will be times of shouting hallelujah, my brothers and sisters, and there will be occasions where we will witness tears and pain flowing as a result of making the wrong decision. But by the blood of the Lamb, we are able to rise up. By the set-apart spirit of Yahuah sending Yahusha's name in forgiveness, we rise up and press on in the strength and power of set-apartness. Be forewarned, my brothers and sisters. It is a dangerous thing to tempt or to try the Almighty Father. Who is aware of Deuteronomy 6:16 that says, do not try Yahuah, your Almighty One, as you tried him in Massah? And Matthew 4:7 reads, Yahusha said to him, it has also been written, you shall not try Yahuah, your Almighty One. My brothers and sisters, do not be deceived by erroneous and undiscerning mores, teachers, pastors, influencers. Do not be deceived to thinking that trying Yahuah is a bad thing in itself. Because some will show you that scripture and say, don't try Yahuah, don't be trying the Spirit. But be mindful that what this is saying here is do not do something that you know is wicked, thinking that you'll get a pass. What this verse is saying is do not just be blatantly disobedient to the Most High, thinking he will look over it or his mercy, his blood will cover you. To blatantly do what is wrong and what is against set-apartness, what is against Torah, what is against the laws, statutes, and 10 commandments, to blatantly do something that violates such, hoping that you might get a nod to continue without regards, is wrong and wicked. This is what it means by not trying. Because see, if you search the scriptures, my brothers and sisters, you'll see 1 John 4:1 say, beloved ones, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirits, whether they are of the Almighty One, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. In this case here, for someone seeking set apartness, someone hungry and thirsting after set apartness, or what some would say righteousness, when we begin to experience the things we cannot see, seeking to discern and understand clearly what must be done, we must try the Spirit. We must weigh the Spirit. But when you're doing something just blatantly wicked, that's tempting. That's trying the Most High to see if you can get away with it. Oh no, judgment will find its place in your face. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are people who are undiscerning that will try to leave you just at the verse that I read where it says, you shall not try the Most High. So if someone tells you that, ask them to explain what that means, and ask them to explain how then and why then does it tell us to try the spirits or to prove the spirits. And as I just said, to distinguish the difference, one is somebody doing something that's blatantly disobedient, knowingly disobedient, thinking that Yahuah is not going to mess with them and they're not going to receive discipline, or they just might get away with it for now. Whereas the other one is one testing to see the things that they weigh against the scriptures, against their relationship with the Most High, testing to see if it's indeed by the Almighty Father. There's a difference. Given that our walk is not by sight, but by belief, as demonstrated in Shaul's writings or Paul's writing, specifically referencing 2 Corinthians 5:6-8, let us come to realize, my brothers and sisters, that it takes courage, it takes discerning, it takes obedience and a heart to do the will of the Almighty Father, to demonstrate what is necessary to discover his living guidance. Let me read 2 Corinthians 5, 6, and 7. Therefore, being always of good courage, and knowing that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the master. For we walk by belief, not by sight. We are of good courage, and are well pleased rather be absent from the body and to be present with the master. The need to test the spirit is paramount, for in situations such as these, we are seeking to discern what is indeed set apart. End times will get intense. I cannot stress that enough, my brothers and sisters. Soon and very soon, we will see widespread questions regarding people's current conditions. Yes, we will begin to witness brothers and sisters asking, hey, I pray, I study, I obey the laws and statutes, I obey his commandments. Why are these things happening to me? Why is this happening to me? It would be wise to first pray and consider what they are experiencing, for it just might be a result of poor decisions made. It may be a result of consequences rising up as a result of what you have sown. Sure, it could also be the results of wise decisions made. It would be wise to seek to discern what is happening, why, and what is expected. Because sometimes when we do what is right, oftentimes we may find persecution will come when we do what is right in the eyes of Abba Yahuah. The benefits of doing what is right is life immeasurably. I'm compelled to believe it is equally wise to discern when we can acknowledge the benefits of decisions made regarding the matter. Both creates a learning opportunity, my brothers and sisters. While there are no doubts in my mind that we enjoy the benefits of wise decision, let me also say, if we manage our vessels wisely, we can learn from the undesired consequences. Instead of wallowing in pity and pain or self-condemnation, let us learn. Let us reach out and embrace the power of the blood of the Lamb, knowing that there is forgiveness in the blood of the Lamb and his atonement. Let us also remember how the Almighty Father Yahuah sent his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name, which makes it possible for us to die daily and be renewed. Knowing this helps to minimize or prevent falling into self-condemnation, pity, and giving up in this journey. Who is aware of the life in the following? 1 Corinthians 15:31 says, I affirm by the boasting in you, which I have in Messiah Yahusha our Master, I die day by day. 2 Corinthians 4:16 says, therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, rise up, O Yasharal, and know in our mistakes, in the discipline, in the wake of the discipline from the Almighty Father, in the wake of judgment that is being executed. If it's being executed for something that we've done wrongly, wickedly, let us rise up and discern and yield humbly and repent and recognize the forgiving power of the atoning blood of the Lamb, Yahusha. Let us rise up knowing that his set-apart spirit is within us and he cleans house. He cleans us up. My brothers and sisters, we who are drawn by the Almighty Father will face the discipline necessary to bring about the unity that is demanded during these end times. Let us discern what it means to learn and press forward in set apartness in spite of our stumbling and when we fall. The time is now to discuss expected benefits of our actions and discern the possible consequences in order to move beyond and press forward in seeking to do the will of the Almighty Father. Yes, my brothers and sisters, benefits and consequences. This is something that is a part of this walk. It is a part of pursuing maturity in righteousness according to the scriptures. My brothers and sisters, let us not be blinded into thinking we have the liberty to do whatever we choose without facing benefits or consequences of our actions. Don't be blinded, my brothers and sisters. For you, for us, O set-apart family, let us not shun or avoid identifying both benefits and consequences, for knowing that our flesh war against the spirit and is sometimes clear to us. And when this is the case, my brothers and sisters, knowing that the flesh warring against the spirit is a continuing thing, let us bring our flesh into subjection. The sooner the better. My brothers and sisters, a warning to mores, teachers and shepherds, anyone who is influential in teaching another. Woe to you if you make every attempt to dismiss the value of set-apart judgment. Woe to you who would rather defend your position and fuel your egos versus yielding and confirming consequences that are necessary to bring about correction. Woe to you who fail to teach and educate people on understanding the difference of benefits and consequences and the power of atonement and why judgment is necessary to be executed to bring about the results that end times demand. Know that Abba Yahuah demands. In the name of Yahusha, my brothers and sisters, it is time for us to understand there is much work to be done, and it requires all sincerity. My brothers and sisters, set apart Yasharal. There are those who would have you avoid being participants of judgment. In other words, there are wicked teachers, wicked mores, wicked leaders who are unlearned, undiscerning, and might just be a wolf in sheep clothing, who prefer to say, leave judgment to Abba Yahuah. But yet in the same breath, or in another teaching, they'll say that Abba Yahuah's Ruach works within them. He is not someone we can turn on and off like a light switch, my brothers and sisters. He works within us. He will even open the mouth of a donkey or cause the rocks to cry out, whatever he see fit, because he can, my brothers and sisters. Anyone who tried to influence another into thinking that judgment is wrong, beware of such deceivers. Let us understand what set apart judgment means, and let us understand how to rightly yield to the Spirit of Yahuah when he is using us to execute judgment. The benefits and consequences of wicked teachings will prove their place. To the chosen and obedient mores, to the chosen and anointed leaders and teachers, to the chosen and obedient to the Spirit of the Almighty Father, the benefits of such will bring responsibility and accountability. It will cause others to draw to you, to learn from your wise decisions. But to those who will kick against the pricks, to those who will fight against set apartness, to the undiscerning and unlearned who would prefer to protect their egos, their positions, consequences await you, of which the time will prove to bring much pain and regret. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. I have every bit of confidence, trust, and belief that the Almighty Father, Yahuah's Spirit, sent in Yahusha's name, will and has equipped us with what we need to move forward during this time of judgment. We will truly be able to identify both the benefits and consequences of leaning into him, growing stronger into set apartness, drawing closer to one another in set apartness. The blood of the Lamb of Yahushua HaMashiach is ever so with us, O Yasharal. We will grow to discern his living voice, his set apart spirit, his power and strength that dwell in us. For he will prove that the word is made alive, and we are indeed renewed day by day. We will navigate through both benefits and consequences. We will learn and we will grow. Be encouraged. The promises of the Most High will indeed be fulfilled. The time is now where we must recognize the preparation for the emergence of the 144,000 Hebrews, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yasharal, and the great multitude of many people from many nations, kindreds, and tongues, together made one by Yahushua HaMashiach and all set apartness. The time is now to recognize that preparation season, that discipline season is now, O Yasharal. So be encouraged. Visitation comes from the Almighty Father. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, I encourage you to continue to seek earnestly to discern what must and will be done as ordered by the Almighty Father Yahuah. Until next time, I bid you, O family of set apartness, Shalum.